name is Tony Johnson, and my dad is Bruce Anthony Johnson. And so I grew up on a cattle ranch in Montana. And Montana was famous for its large rattlesnakes. And so I didn't see this rattlesnake. I saw the after effects of the rattlesnake. But I saw the rattlesnake hanging over my mom's clothesline. And both ends touched the ground, and the rattlesnake was probably this big around. And so that's the story.
I'm Randy Spencer. Carol Johnson is my mom. Now, this, of course, these are stories that are secondhand that we were told as kids, and we still remember them. But, of course, a couple of the brothers in the family, like Tony's dad and Uncle Neil, were the real problem children a lot of times we hear and whatever. But apparently one day at school, they got, I think it was a squirrel, it was some kind of rodent anyway, and put it in the teacher's top drawer when the teacher was out of the room. And when the teacher came back, if I remember right, they described her as a rather plump lady or whatever. Anyway, but they put the squirrel in her top drawer of her desk, and when during the middle of the class, she opened her drawer, and the squirrel jumped out right on her chest. She went straight over backwards, and on the floor. Well, she wasn't happy with that, and of course the main form of punishment back in those days was a lot of times that the kid would get a good switching with a willow branch. Well, she sent the kids down. The part of the punishment was they had to go down to the creek or the nearby, and she told them to go get their own willow branch to be whipped by. And apparently they, in their wisdom, went and cut down the entire tree, thinking that she wouldn't be able to do anything with that. Then I never ever heard whatever actually happened at that point once they brought the whole tree back to the classroom. But that was just kind of the way they were. They would push the envelope apparently, and even as adults at reunions, they were always the instigators. I don't know if anybody's brought up the game of hot strap, but that was an interesting game. I witnessed it once at a Johnson reunion in Idaho Falls, but never participated.
And what was it?
Oh, hot strap? Well, it was a Johnson version of Duck Duck Goose, in a way. So you formed a big circle, and somebody had like a leather belt, and everybody would stand in the circle, facing to the center of the circle, put their hands behind their back, and then the person that had the strap would walk around the outside of the circle, and he'd put the belt into somebody's hands, and then they would start whipping the person to their right, as they had to run around the circle to get back into place. So they had to would whip them all the way around, and so that was.
Do you remember that?
That was hot strap.
Oh, wow.
So you don't remember that?
No.
I don't remember seeing it at any of the Johnson reunions in Harlem, but they did that once at one of the big Johnson reunions in Idaho Falls when I was just a kid.
So I'm Lorie Lemmons. So my mom was Joyce Johnson. So she was the youngest of 8. So I just have fond memories of going to Johnson reunions in Montana. You know, because so for me, I mean, I had all older cousins and stuff, but I just very much appreciated like my aunts and uncles it was a good time, you know, and stuff. And his dad would put on a rodeo, and I mean, we'd go swimming. I don't even know where it was, a natural hot springs, you know, just big picnics, hay rides. You know, the aunts I just remember great big
River, I think.
Yeah, great big salads. Your mom was a really good cook, and so big potato salads and all kinds of salads. And anyway, I just have very fond memories of just visiting Montana. So that's mine.
We didn't talk about the skunk.
Oh yeah, Randy, you know that story the best.
Well, this is real short. Apparently, it was the brothers again would apparently again just secondhand, thirdhand hearing this, but they had heard that a skunk can't spray if its feet are not touching the ground. So they had captured themselves a skunk and tied it up by the tail in the barn. And so then the skunk, of course, in swinging around and squirming and trying to get free, sprayed the entire interior of the barn that they couldn't even get the cows in there to milk the cows. So, and they had other run-ins that we heard from Grandma about with skunks, where a couple of the boys would get sprayed, and Grandma made them strip naked right on the back porch and washed them down with tomato juice and whatnot right there. So yes, we had some adventurous uncles.
And I'm sure there are very many more stories
that we never heard. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, we're good.